The GameFace Footy Show, Division 2, live from the Red Hill Football Club, who find themselves in the second semi-final in the seniors and also the under-19s as they've dominated that competition this year, winning all games comfortably. We have a good look at the first weekend of the finals, some outstanding football in the seniors reserves and also under-19s. A magnificent performance by Langwarrin to beat Chelsea. And gee, their club theme song, the second best club theme song I've ever heard. It won't beat the 2016 AFL Grand Final theme song of the Western Bulldogs. I was there, ladies and gentlemen, but the Langwarrin theme song was pretty special on the weekend. Red Hill find a way to beat Coringal and move into the second semi-final. A good performance by Chelsea in the reserves as they managed to beat Langwarrin after a great start, kicking 7 goals to none in the first quarter. Disappointing performance by Quick Point. They go down to Somerville despite Somerville kicking 5-22 in the elimination final in the under-19s. And then we saw the big upset in the under-19s in the qualifying final with Coringal red-hot favourites losing to Rye by 1 point. As I say, it's Red Hills night tonight. We'll have their senior coach Jamie Molo joining us. We'll also have their captain Marcus Delago as well. And boys, Paul Wilson, we welcome you. Chris Holcomb, we welcome you. I love being here at Red Hill. It's nice and cold, but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't know how to get here. I'm lucky I've got my great mate, the producer, the coach here. Last time we came here, boys, we came here accidentally. And can I tell you why we came here accidentally? Because I gave Coach the wrong address. We meant to go to Rosebud to do interviews for GameFace. And we ended up here and said, oh, we're going to Red Hill, Coach. It's really cool. Gee, do we go? I thought we don't go up here to go to Red Hill because I know Red Hill a little bit through all the lovely wineries around here. We turned up here and I said, Coach, we're at Red Hill. I've given you the wrong address. So I drove back and instead of turning right about 800 metres away and going down the hill, I've gone straight along and gone down Arthur Street. Having a lovely time.
You got a chairlift.
But didn't quite get on the chairlift, Paul. I think Coach wanted to get on the chairlift.
Would have been quicker.
And we're going down the hill, and I'm going a little bit quicker than I should have.
You were driving?
Almost out of control.
Mad
we
Max.
got down the bottom, and the first thing Coach said to me, we never get angry at each other. We fight all the time, but we never get angry at each other. He just said, get out of the car now, I'm driving. You are never driving this car again. So I only drive when I'm on my own. Wow. So I don't have any friends when I'm driving.
Wow. But you made it tonight. You're here safe.
Yeah, well, the coach got us here tonight.
That's the main thing.
It's wonderful to be here.
That's the main thing.
Red Hill are flying in both the under-19s and also the seniors. It's been a terrific performance by them to get here. They had I would have thought, a solid win against Coringal on the weekend. Coringal's inability to score goals. I spoke to Brett Dunn after the elimination final. He was there watching that on Sunday. And I said, how are you going to score more goals? And he said, well, we don't score more. We don't score a lot of goals. We play a certain style of footy, and that is a contested style of footy. How far can that take them?
I like Dunny, and I like him as a guy, and I respect him as a coach. They're not going to win games of finals playing like that.
No.
Red Hill and Dramana move the ball like first division sides. They change play and they move it in quick. It's too predictable.
Yeah.
And look, it's going to be the detriment of them. They've got a decent side, but
would
they
it
need
be
to change
seen as a failure if they were to bow out in straight sets?
Oh, they're going to bow out in straight sets. I think Langy will.
Yeah, well, I think they will too.
But the thing at the end of the day is that you've got to get that side up to win games of football, and they weren't going to win that game last week.
No.
So, and they're definitely not going to beat a Dramana if they come up against them in the prelims. So they need to work out pretty quick. And I know Dunny's pretty strong on his beliefs of what he thinks how they should play, but they're not playing that well that way that they're playing. They're not scoring enough. You can't do it.
That's been the big issue.
The more goals you win, the more goals you get. Obviously, the more goals you win, and their forward line isn't working.
No, it's not.
It's not working.
But it's a ball movement from the back. It's not working.
They go a bit sideways, don't they? And then they chip it around a bit. Yeah. But as you said, Dramana and the Red Hill boys, they kick it long, targets are there.
Against the highly skilled sides, as you say, Paul, if you're lacking a little bit of class, you can only bring it down to a certain level, and that is congestion around the football. I heard a few other phrases used by guys at the footy on Sunday that they like a particular type of fight, and I think we know what that particular type of fight is, a word beginning with S, and if they can get it on their level, they'll find a way to win. But
they might. Then look, they might be.
They could do it against Langy, but Langy were able to bring it down to a certain level in the second half in their game as well. I thought it was a terrific performance by them to hold on into the breeze without scoring a goal in the breeze. Now, looking at the under-19s first, Rye got over the line. They had a handy lead all day. And
it was great.
Kringle stormed home and had a shot at goal with about a minute to go.
How far out?
And missed it. I'm not sure how far out, but the player missed it. And Rye ended up hanging on by a point. That was a huge upset because Kringle were red-hot favourites to advance. And on a couple of occasions this year, they've pushed Red Hill for a certain period of time. Lee Stafford, their football manager, told me a little bit earlier that at one stage Kringle were 4 goals up in a game they played earlier in the year, and I thought, oh, must have been close. He said, yeah, we won by 7 or 8 goals in the end. So Red Hill, when they put the foot down in the under-19s, will be too strong. But Kringle have played reasonable football against them, but a wonderful effort by Rye. So Kringle have got to do it the hard way. They play Somerville in the first semi-final. Crib Point started well, 2-1, 13-0. Then Somerville kicked 1-9. They peppered the goals. It was just one of those days where if you had the wind, there was a big advantage for you. Crib Point didn't do enough with the wind to the town end or northern end in the first quarter, and Somerville kicked 1-9. They were profligate all day, which is wasteful. That was Coach's word. Coach got me that word. Wonderful word.
What was it?
Profligate.
Spell it.
Do you like it, Paul?
It's
Profligate, I think.
There was a G.
I think.
Yeah, profligate.
Oh, good.
Okay. Did I say Kurt?
Look it up.
Profligate.
We'll Google it for next week.
Yeah, we'll Google it. That's the word of the week.
Word of the week.
And it was a good win by Somerville, but they kicked badly. 5-22, 52 to 4-3, 27. And as we said, former YCW player Jared Sullivan, he missed the goal in front for Kringle to give them the victory, and Kringle were very dirty because they felt that that was a match they should have won. The last time they played them, they beat Rye 13-9, 87 to 4 behinds. It's all on the day, isn't it? It's often all above the shoulders, Chris.
And between the ears, boys. Between the ears, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And the Rye coach, well, he was pretty happy about it. Some footage now on Lee Morse, and he's got his team into a second semi.
I'm joined by the head coach of the under-19s for Rye, Lee Morse, who has just come off a thrilling 1-point victory over Kringle in the first qualifying final. How does it feel?
Oh, look, it's a bit surreal at the moment. Like, they're leading all day, and then one of the Kringle fellas had a shot at, with about 30 seconds to go and missed it, and I thought the game was done. But to the guys' credit, we had 17 men on the ground in the last quarter. We had a send off. So to the guys' credit, we worked really hard, and making sure we got the win at the end of the day was really pleasing. So last time we played Kringle, we turned the footy over quite a fair bit, and on today we'll definitely super clean. We'll first the footy. So yeah.
And they've got nothing to lose, have they? Absolutely nothing to lose. They get another chance. They know if they lose this week, they get a prelim final, and if it happens to be against Kringle, who would be favourites against Somerville, who just got into the top 5. They lost a lot more games than Crib Point did and were the underdogs in that match. So you would think that Kringle would beat Somerville. Mind you, we thought they'd beat Rye. Then Rye would get another chance after beating Kringle 2 weeks ago. So they've got nothing to lose this week.
Finals football. You do it all year, and you go through, and then you get a little twist, and it changes everything. Especially with.
Well, I mean, we should never be picking finals footy like we pick home and away footy. Just because a team beats a team comfortably twice during the home and away season, or 3 times if they play them, depending on the league, doesn't mean they're going to do it in the finals.
You've got to go with the odds, don't you?
You do. It's just that. It's all different finals football. We all know that's finals football. We all played finals footy, and you just, whether it's training on Tuesday night or Thursday night here, the atmosphere, the club's there too, and everyone just goes, oh, we're playing finals, we're a chance. Exactly. And they are.
Now, the Somerville boys were pretty happy, singing the song at the end.
If you are a Somerville boy, sing along with me. We are the Eagles on the road to victory. All for one and one for all, yes, still the goal. We're the greatest team of all.
They've just got to improve their kicking this week if they can, and they get an opportunity to play Kringle. It's going to be tough for them, but they make their way through to the cutthroat semi-final. Now, in the reserves, good win by Kringle, 11-9-75. They beat Dramana 8-12-60, and Chelsea set up their win by kicking 7 goals to none with the breeze. Now, Langwarren hit back in the second quarter, kicking 4 goals, but a little bit like the seniors, and we'll discuss it a little bit later, I think if you get the wind in the first quarter, I know all teams have got to kick with it, it can be a really decided advantage, because it then gives the opposition an opportunity to know what it's like to go into the breeze, and they were able to adjust really well, Lang Warren, and as were Chelsea, ensuring in the reserves that Langy didn't kick as many goals as they did and dominate like they did.
You look at it both ways though, and I've played it a lot before, where that first quarter the pressure is so intense and the game hasn't settled down yet, and you can't score and you waste the whole quarter.
They can kick 5 or 6, 7 goals in the first quarter.
The game settles down, second quarter, whooshka, and you're done. The only thing with that is that if the wind turns at any stage, you're in all sorts of trouble.
Big trouble.
We had a few games when we were playing at Frankston, and it was 6, 7 goal wins. And we were 3/4 the whole way, 3/4 time, bang.
Car Street end turns around.
Done.
Now, Gameface got in the rooms after Coringa won the reserves and was speaking to Lee Forsyth and a couple of the players, Lee Forsyth being the coach, and unbelievable the footage of the Coringa reserves singing Sweet Caroline like the Sydney Swans do. One of the great songs of all time.
Neil Diamond.
Absolutely fantastic.
Coach Luke Forsyth and superstar Reach Mathers. Good win today, guys. First box ticked.
Yeah, first box ticked. We said before the game there was only 4 blokes that had played senior footy, finals footy, and the way we just went out there, our pressure, super. It just come down to who wanted it more in that first quarter. I couldn't have been more proud of the boys.
Spoke about pressure and smashing the clearances. You were pretty happy at half time with where you guys were sitting, but you really reiterated on turning up again in the second half. You felt the pressure was as good in the second half?
Yeah, I think
Sweet Caroline, ba, ba, ba. Good times never seem so good. I feel like, ba, ba, ba.
And as we said, Chelsea had a 20-point win over Lang Warren, and their coach, Steve Gardner, really happy with what his team achieved as they're through to a first semi-final. We're in the victorious Chelsea reserves rooms after they've made their way into the first semi-final in the second division. Steve Gardner's their coach. Steve, how good was that win considering the conditions?
Look, it was just a super effort. To kick 7 goals with the breeze in the first quarter really set up for us, and I thought the boys dug deep all day. I thought it was a better side. To Langy's credit, they had a huge crack in the third quarter. I felt we needed to score in that last, which we did, but it was just really good for the club. You know, to make finals is one thing, but to get a win's another. So it was well done by the boys.
Now in the seniors, it was tight for 3 quarters, then Red Hill got away, 4 goals to none in the last quarter. 59-27, as we spoke about earlier. Coringa not going to win too many games of footy, kicking 3 goals for the day, and it was a really good game. The elimination final down at Rye. Lang Warren kicked 6 goals to 2 in the first quarter. I thought they defended brilliantly. Josh Beard, in his quiet way, said, boys, we've just got to defend, keep the ball on the far side, which they did. They got a late goal, Chelsea, to cut the margin to 13 points. I thought, and I was up in the social club rooms up on the balcony, and you had Chelsea to the left, you had Langy boys to the right, going mad. Good old Mick O'Rourke, one of the great men of local footy, stuck in the middle with his great song, and I was stuck right in the middle. And good old Mick brought a couple of security guards out just to calm the boys down. They were getting a bit fired up too, Langy boys. Talking about money bags because of some of the recruiting decisions that Lang Warren have made. And Josh Beard told me a bit later the club was in dire straits at the start of the year, so how could they be called money bags? But anyway, he who laughs last, laughs loudest, and that's exactly what Lang Warren had managed to do, and it was a really tight game. I thought Langy missed a lot of set shots in the third quarter that they could have got, but it was a bit harder kicking with the breeze.
Jesse Murphy kicked 2 goals,
4.
2-4, and he should have kicked about 4 in the first
quarter.
And then
Chelsea got a couple of late goals into the breeze, one through Curtis Bywater, who kicked 4, and then in the last quarter, absolutely fantastic by James Brain. He decided, I'm just going to go for broke here, and kicked a 60-metre goal, but then Langy were able to defend stoutly and got over the line. But firstly, looking at the match between Red Hill and Coringa, and RPP called that game, and they'll be calling the games in First Division this week on the GameFace app, able to show the GameFace vision, which is terrific. And Chris Irving and Tim McEnroe were best on ground, and then this happened.
I'm joined by Zach Vines, who took an absolute cracker mark in the fourth quarter that pretty much sealed the game. You went back and kicked the goal as well. How did that feel?
Yeah, pretty good feeling. It was good to get it done.
We've seen some wonderful marks in this comp this year. Good call by Lockie Kelly too.
Was that a
Developing
mark?
young caller for RPP. Zach Vine's taking a screamer for Red Hill. I'm sure he's been telling all his mates about how good that goal is. We'll find out a little bit more later on when the Red Hill boys join us on the Footy Show. And then, of course, Langwarrin and Chelsea, as we mentioned, it was a terrific last 15 minutes by Langwarrin. They didn't seem to panic. They put players behind the ball. Sean Herdman was adjudged by his teammates, by his peers, to be the best man on the ground because he went behind the ball and took defensive mark after James Brain got them to less than 2 goals. Big loud crowd, absolutely sensational atmosphere. And after the game, lucky enough to catch up with many of the very happy Langwarrin players and also coaches. And that was after the best version in local footy of a club theme song by Langwarrin. Well, it's always great to win a final, particularly a cutthroat final. I've never, though, heard a theme song sung like it was by the Langwarrin Football Club and getting over the line today. It was exciting to be there. No doubt exciting for the coach, Josh Beard. Josh, you don't seem to get out of first gear too often, but you look pretty excited in there.
Nah, super excited, mate. Obviously, the senior 22 get the opportunity to sing the song, but I think to have 100 people in the rooms joining in was pretty special, mate. It was great.
Speaking with the playing coach of the Langwarrin Football Club, Blake McCormack, who was outstanding out there today as a leader. How good was that?
Oh, unbelievable. Like, to get to a final was one thing, but to win one for the club where it's come from, it's amazing. Like, support we had today, and it was pretty tough conditions out there, but to get the win and move on to Kringle next week, I couldn't be happier.
That was
sensational. They were on fire. I mean, I have never heard anything like it. They knew how important that win was. They've done so well to get into the finals. They keep talking about you, Hulks. You were the man that said they were no good.
They're up and about,
7 weeks ago.
They're up and about.
They found form.
Look at the two sides, Langy and Pines.
They're up and about.
But Langy had the momentum. We talked about it last week. I don't think anyone tipped Chelsea to win the game.
No.
It was the same on the other flip side as Red Hill and Kringle. We didn't think that Kringle had the game plan to beat Red Hill, and we were proven right there, even in windy conditions. So small ground, windy conditions, wet, should have suited Kringle. Red Hill got over the line, and Langwarrin with their momentum, all over them.
So, looking at Chelsea's season, would they be disappointed? They were top 3 for most of the year and just fell apart a bit, didn't they?
Yeah, I think 5th. I would have had them around 5th at the start of the year. They probably overdid themselves early in the year, and I thought they were a bit ahead of what they were, but they just lack that little bit of star power up top to do. James Brain's a great player. Toddy Gardner's been consistent, but I mean, Curtis had a year out of the box, but I wouldn't expect that from him every year. I mean, that's it's probably more than what you'd expect from him.
Pretty good effort,
very good season.
Very good, 65.
I just think that
they're lacking something.
They are lacking something.
Just something.
I mean, Dave Willett's still running around at 36.
Was it a good decision?
36.
I saw Dave on Saturday analyse, wasn't it?
It was a great decision, and he's a really good player. I would have appointed James because I think that the guys support him, but I think they just need to recruit a little bit smarter in the off-season because they need a little bit more. Yeah. But he's only first year too as coach, so he's going to improve on that as well. So we'll see how we go.
Well, our focus tonight's on Red Hill. We're down here at the Red Hill Football Club. We thank them very much for having us down here as they get ready for a huge weekend of footy. Second semi-final in the seniors against Dramana. 1 win apiece between the two sides this year. And, of course, they're under-19s. They're rampaging, red-hot, reigning premiers under-19s. All the R words. They're going brilliantly. They'll take on Rise. So we'll talk about Red Hill in just a second on the GameFace Footy Show, Division 2, live from Red Hill. St Andrew's Brewery, using the finest ingredients, ensuring each beer is full of flavour and character.
Frankston RSL, Frankston's function and restaurant specialist.
In the goal kicking for the finals, in second division, in the seniors, Curtis Bywater kicked 4 from Chelsea. Zach Andrewartha of Langwarrin kicked 3. and 2 each to Jesse Murphy of Langwarren, Ben Hughes of Red Hill and Tom McEnroe of Red Hill. In the reserves, goal kicking, having a good look at that, and Brad Okapinti of Coringal finished with 3 after the opening round of the finals. Chris Charity of Chelsea also 3 in their team's win as they progress through to the first semi-final. John Marshall of Dramana, they get another chance after they were down by Coringal. He kicked 3. Luke Clark of Chelsea 3 and Matthew Hammond of Dramana 3. In the under-19s, Alex Okapinti of Coringal kicked 4. His team did lose though in that second semi-final against Rye. Joel Willis kicked 3 and Rye's narrow 1-point victory. And Ryan McNamara of Coringal also kicked 3. Welcome back to the GameFace Footy Show. Thanks to the Peanut Gallery, the lunatics in the background here at the Red Hill Footy Club. Good to have you with us, boys. Good to be here. I think there's a bloke down there called the Paddle Pop Lion. I'll find out a little bit why they call him the Paddle Pop Lion in a second. I think I've got that right. Thanks to the Frankston RSL, we've got our guests here in Jamie Molo, the coach of this club, who are flying at the moment, and also the captain who's back. I was trying to work out what the difference is between a 2-week hamstring injury and a 3-week hamstring injury. What it is, you missed 2 weeks, and in doing the injury, he's back 3 weeks after doing the injury. So basically, a 2-week hamstring injury is the same as a 3-week hamstring injury. Marcus Delago, that's right, isn't it?
Correct.
Excellent.
Spot on.
And thanks for that. You gave me a great answer. Now listen, you'll be ready to go. No dramas.
Yeah, 100%. So had 2 solid weeks getting it right, and it's feeling good. Trained fully tonight and train on Thursday. So ready to roll.
Was it tough watching the boys on the weekend?
It was. It was an arm wrestle. They first half it was pretty tight, but I thought we were moving the ball better, just not as consistently as we wanted to. And then early in the last quarter, we broke them open and started getting the running game going, and got the ball inside 50 pretty cleanly on a number of occasions.
You didn't get down and see Dr. Death to get over that hammy, did you, at any stage?
Nah. A few of the boys have been down to see him over the years.
He's
and
good.
He's
good.
We've
actually on the grand final footy show, we've got Dan teed up to have a session with Dr. Death on film.
Gee whiz.
I hope you're ready to go, Chris, because you'll have to replace me. I won't recover from that.
He'd be no good. No, he's very good with hamstrings. I just thought he might have been in there.
Yeah, well, I've just got problems with my lower back, but that happens when you get old.
That's not your only
when
problem,
you nearly, a lot of problems. One of many problems, but that's just one of them. Thank you very much for that.
That's all right, mate.
Now, Jamie, it's been a great season. I heard some rumours earlier in the year that there was a bit of a kumbaya session when the team was struggling a little bit, and you sort of got all the players together and a bit of a loving type session to try and find some form. Yes or no?
Yes, it wasn't. It was more led by the leadership group as well. So we got a really strong leadership, obviously Captain Marcus and leadership group, and we just sort of recognised that we were struggling a little bit in the way we wanted to go about things and the standards we'd set. And so I think the players all got in, and from that point on, we kind of were able to tick the box on how we wanted to train/play and get things rolling for the year. So.
Because you had a good season last year and you made the finals 4 years in a row under Tony Black, was there extra pressure on you knowing you're in second division that he seemed to have left the club in a pretty good state? The under-19s dominated last year, they were going well again this year, that you needed to at least improve for making an elimination final?
Oh, we wanted to improve anyway. So, Blackies did a lot of good things for the club, set a really good culture here, which continues on today, built strong leaders, and but we've taken other things that we needed to do to improve on to make sure we did finish that top 3 we wanted. We got top 2 in the end, and make sure we win enough games and just change our game style a little bit so, sides wouldn't be able to beat us as easily. So, But no, he did a lot of good things here, but I think the boys onwards and upwards, so
And how have you found coaching in this division and this league down here, Jamie? First year of coaching. It's good?
Yeah, pretty good. So, tough opposition obviously from the top 5 sides.
Yep.
Every time we played them, we've kind of had a challenge, except that last back end of the year where we sort of started to get our mojo going and were able to beat sides quite comfortably, other than Dramana, who we struggled with out for probably half a footy out there, or say 3/4. So, I found it great. So it's got a lot of mates in the league. So it was good.
And you've signed up next year, I believe. Is that right? Next year.
Next couple of years. Yeah.
Next 2 years.
Yeah, next 2. Yep.
So next 2's up this year.
Yeah.
So that's great.
It's a big commitment, isn't it? Because you're travelling down from Melbourne. How do you fit everything in?
Oh, pretty simple. I've got a business that has sort of started to take its own direction. So I've got a bit of time there, and Marie's, my wife's, allows me to sort of spend a lot of time with the boys.
I'm trying to work out what you're going to say.
It allows me to spend a lot of time with the boys because it is pretty selfish kind of being a footy coach. So it's all about you. So But no, it's great. So she's fully supportive. So yeah.
And what have you learnt after you kicked the first 5 goals against Germana and then they overran you after that to ensure you're in good stead to take them on the second semi on the weekend?
That we've got to play 4 quarters. Simple. Like, I mean, first time we played them here, they had a ripping first quarter, and then I think for the next couple evened out. Last quarter we dominated. It was probably the flip when we played them there. We dominated the first quarter, probably 10 minutes into the second, and they sort of started to get back into the game in the second half of the second quarter. The third quarter obviously kicked 7. So we just need to play our brand of footy consistently for a lot longer period. So yeah.
From a playing point of view, like we've asked a lot of the guys that have come back from First Division to Second Division about their mindset in pre-season. You guys have been thereabouts for a long time now. You haven't got your Serenos, your Frankstons, Rosebuds through. Was there a bit of excitement pre-season to think we can take that next step and we can get ourselves a cup?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we probably thought we were going to take that next step eventually anyway, but not having the likes of your Sereno, Rosebud and Frankston Bombers, who finished top 3 the last couple of years, it sort of does put a bit of a spring in your step come pre-season. I don't think the standard of footy is any different. I just think maybe the consistency of the opposition falls away a little bit in Division 2, but overall, we came to pre-season pretty excited, and obviously excited about Jamie. Heard good raps about him, and you know, it took us a while to get going, but once we did, we've been having fun, enjoying the season.
You've got a lot of under-19 boys playing this year too, believe in senior football, and that must be really, really good. You know, bring them up from previous years, but you've gone through how many under-19 players are playing in the ones this year? You've had a few, haven't you?
13.
13 under-9.
Yeah,
13. Wow. Gee, that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, and on the weekend, there was one that's obviously was in our best players with Aidan Marquezani, and we've had others that we sort of given that 3-game period to adjust to senior footy, and then
seems to work.
Yeah, and if you give them that time, first game in they're always nervous, and they have to adjust the tempo. Second game in they can have a couple of moments, and like their third game sort of gives them those moments to stay in the side, or we send them back. So, but it gives them exposure to the seniors footy as well,
which is good for the club and the future too. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, because they can play. They just need to adjust the tempo of senior footy.
Why do you think, Marcus, you took a little while to get going?
Jamie came in with a game plan that was quite similar to what we've had in the past. So there was, you know, the sort of fundamentals of it was pretty similar to what we've been exposed to over the last 5 years with Blackers. You know, there were some tweaks, and I think it does take a bit of time to get all of that to gel together. And if there was a few positional changes, a few new faces in the team as well, and we'd lost a few other fellas from last year. So, you know, all of that time, all of those little changes sort of add up to quite a big change in the end. And it probably does take you, you know, a sort of month, 6 weeks of footy to really gel together and you know, get it humming along, I reckon. Yeah,
no, I think you've been fantastic this year, and I think but what I've watched in Second Division this year, because I obviously take a big look at First Division, you and Dramana have got the best game styles to be able to go up to the next level. I don't think that you'd shy away from that at all. And I think the impressive thing I've seen about you guys is in your personnel. You've got your talls, you've got your smalls as well, and your midfield crew. You're doing a good job. Jonah, obviously down back there. I can't believe what he did. He was in the interleague side at one stage, and then he rings me up, says he's been down to train at Red Hill on a Tuesday night and did a hammy. What are you doing training on Tuesday? I need you to centre half back for the interleague side, and he says, Robbie, but
heavy deck.
No,
heavy deck.
Exactly. But no, your mix of guys seems to be fantastic, and it's not an old list either, it's a young list. So it looks like
age 22.
Your next couple of years is pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. And you know, the young kids coming through, we talk about young kids, but I mean, guys like Jonah are only young as well.
Yeah,
so we've still got a really good mix of experienced senior players who we've only got 3 that are over 30, right, and the rest are in that 25 to 28 bracket. And then you've got the youngies. So yeah, it's great. It's a good mix.
You nominated Jamie as one of the 3 coaches of the year in Second Division, with Ricky Johnson, the coach of Dramana, and Aaron Pacey really improved Tyab this year. How would you rate your chances there? Not that you probably care because you want them in the Premiership and go up to First Division.
Yeah, that's more glamorous than a Premiership, mate. What are you talking about?
I think
Coach of the Year, yay! Coach of the Year, yay!
Individual awards are great, but it's about us winning a flag. You know, it's been 28 years, so our focus is solely on getting that job done or getting there, and then making sure we get the job done. And you know, we've got the list and the players to do it, so I think we just got to get there.
Now, me and Chris, before the break, we're looking at the oval out here. We just said how wide this oval is.
Couldn't believe it.
How wide is that way and length that way too. you must have a sensational game plan when they play out here against other teams out here.
Yeah, it's. I think we lost once here this year. Can't remember who that was off the top of my head, but
Rye.
Against Rye, yeah, it was 2 points. We didn't play. Yeah, the Rat Pack. Yeah, we didn't play that well that game, but
I knew they were here for a reason.
Yeah, I don't think blokes like coming up here to play, and you know, a few of the boys from last year, Joshy Beard and Blake McCormack, were just saying that, you know, there's a bit of a vibe when you come up here. It's tough going to get yourself up and get the team a roll, you know, happening from the get-go. So, yeah, it is a home ground advantage, a bit of a boneyard for us.
And there's talk that might be swapped around. Goal line for goal line, go around the other way around in a couple of years' time or something.
Is there?
Well, that's what I've been told
There you
tonight.
go. Breaking news. Yeah.
Breaking news.
That defeat against Rye must have been early on when Maury was flying, because he turned to rubbish after that.
As soon as I joined the comp, I think they only won a game. I think they won 2 more games. And as soon as I'll take some credit here, boys, even though it's the first time I met all you guys tonight, it's great being here. As soon as I joined the comp, you guys started finding some form.
Thanks, Dan. There we go.
Yeah.
I like it.
Everyone jumps on a winner.
Although I've followed the Western Bulldogs most of my life, no winners there, boys, bar 1 year. So you are feeling confident, Marcus, about this Saturday? I mean, it is a huge opportunity for your football club.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a massive, as Jamie just mentioned, we haven't won a flag since 1990, and we've been in elimination finals the past 4 years. So we're really itching to go, and you know, we know if we play 4 quarters of our good footy, I think you know, we're more than capable of getting over the line, and the belief has really grown since around that sort of 6-week mark, round 6 mark, and yeah, we're pretty confident.
And having dropped those 4 elimination finals in a row and then winning a final on the weekend, was it more relief than delight? You finally won one after a few years?
To be honest, Dan, it wasn't really relief in a way. It was a different feeling going into the game. There was a real sort of as I just mentioned, a sense of belief, and sort of we just knew we were going to get the job done if every single bloke in the team played his role and contributed and did what he had to do. So it was just business as usual in a way, and we got it done and move on to the next week.
It's going to be a cracking game this week.
It's a
cracking game. We've been waiting for it for a long time. So we always said these 2 sides were going to be thereabouts. And the funny thing, if I look at First Division over the last 5, 6, 15 years, second semi-final is brutal. It is brutal, and often what happens is the loser that comes out of it is a bit battered, and they're pretty vulnerable on that prelim, and you get the week off. Usually whoever wins that second semi is straight through, and they've got the upper hand, so it's a massive game. Love it.
That's the key, isn't it? I mean, to have a week off at this time of the year is pretty handy, isn't it?
It'd be great just to get a bit of rest in some of the boys, but either way, if it doesn't happen, that's our plan, to get straight through. But if it doesn't and we go to the prelim, well, we go to the prelim. But either way, we just the goal is to get to that grand final. So.
And the Hastings ground, no dramas. You have to play with that team to play. But what's your record like there? It'll suit you okay?
We played Hastings there and won by 70 points, I think. So we did.
No dramas.
So we're all right there. So
it's a big ground, though.
Big ground, big depth too.
It's very windy too. Yeah. It's windy sometimes out there too at Hastings too.
So if we get our run going, make them defend for long periods of time. Well, I think we should be okay.
Be good.
Well, Marcus and Jamie, congratulations on what you've achieved this year. There's still a lot of football to be played for Red Hill, yes. Hopefully, for your sake, in a few weeks' time, there'll be huge celebrations here at the Footy Club as you win your second flag and promotion into First Division. Good luck, and thanks for joining us and having us here for the GameFace Footy Show. We thank Jamie Molo, the coach of the Red Hill Footy Club, and their captain, Marcus Delago, is back after a 2-week or 3-week hamstring injury, and good luck to them. And back with, of course, the under-19 boys in just a second, and talk about a team flying. They are going beautifully. Hewison Private Wealth, giving you expert financial advice. Pencon Garden Supplies and Mini Mix Concrete is a family-owned business that has served the Mornington Peninsula magnificently for more than 50 years. For all your garden and building supplies, concrete, soil, sand and mulch, visit Bart and the team at 58 Peninsula Avenue Rye, or call 5985 2252 or 5985 2998. Thanks to the Frankston RSL. We'll continue with our guests on the Division 2 Footy Show for GameFace live at Red Hill. Great to be here, having a great time as we get ready for the second semis this week. It's not that cold, Chris. It's not that cold. Paul, I've got to do what I do. Wear a suit. Wear a suit.
Bag of fruit.
As I said, my late father always said to me, if you look the part, you are the part, even if you're not the part, which I'm not. But because I look the part, I probably in some ways am the part.
What
If
if
that
you
makes
are
any
the
sense.
part, but you don't dress like the part, but you are actually the part?
Oh, well, that's up to you then, isn't it? Mm. You feel you are the part, aren't you? Very good with that beard as well. Now, coming up very soon for this football club, they've got a big luncheon, haven't they? And they've got Greg Williams and they've got Mark McClure, one of the great men, Sellers, the Sportsman's Lunch, and Mike Share. Now, Sellers is an old mate of mine. I've caught a lot of footy with Sellers on the ABC over the years, and he is one of the funniest men I've ever had the privilege of meeting. Hopefully one of the stories he tells at the Sportsman's Lunch, which is Wednesday the 19th of September, will be the night after one of the grand finals. I think it might have been 2012 when Sydney just beat Hawthorn, and Sellers always organised with the guy that looked after the lunches in the media room at the Ron Casey Media Centre. Make sure there are 24 Crown Lagers sitting there for us, because we've got to talk for about 2 hours at the end of the match, post-match, go into the rooms, etc. So they got in this great big silver esky, if you like, not really an esky, more looked like a premiership cup, which was the ice bucket, and they had 6 or 7, and then we were going around to Gerard Whateley's place to have our end-of-season dinner, and of course it was my job to be driving Drew Morfitt and also Mark McClure around there. I can't drive. And it was madness. You've got to go left, you idiot. You've got to go right, you idiot. What are you doing? I said, Sellers, where is the ice bucket? It's in the back of your car, you muppet. It's in the back of your car. When I got out there, of course, the beer was everywhere, the ice was everywhere, the water was everywhere. And of course, we've turned up, the three of us have turned up inside Gerard's house, and they're all laughing and saying, uh-oh, there's been trouble. We were whinging and whining. Here's one of the great blokes you'd ever want to meet, Mark McClure. Good player and good
golfer.
Good golfer
a few times. He's
and
very
he might,
good
he might, depending on who's here on that day, he might tell you some of the other more interesting stories that he's partaken in his magnificent football career, both on and particularly off the field. But it's a great pleasure now to welcome, as part of our under-19 segment for the Red Hill Football Club, Harry Burt, who is one of the club vice presidents, and also media manager and senior player, hoping to get back in the senior team. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Where's the senior coach? Jamie's gone home, I think. But of course, he did unfortunately break a leg against Hastings earlier in the season. He played a seconds match against Devon Meadows, did well, but Harry, you mightn't have much of an opportunity to get back in.
I was sort of hoping that the twos were going to be able to sneak into the final, so I had some games to play alongside the seniors to get back in, but not the case, unfortunately. So I'll train around and do what I can, and put my hand up to be available if need be. But they're going pretty well at the moment, so I'm happy for them.
Now, you've got us here tonight, so I presume, being media manager, you're doing an outstanding role. What does the role of media manager of a successful football club like Red Hill involve?
I haven't actually had the term media manager ever until tonight. So
you told me that you were a media manager, so I just went with it.
No, we'll go with that. I do a lot of Facebook posts. I let you guys do a few more Facebook posts this year at GameFace. So it's good fun. Running a few social events as well. We get around it and have a ball.
Are you the next president?
I don't think so. No, I prefer to be... no, Graham Sherry came on board this year for his first year, and he's done an outstanding job. Some of the initiatives that he's implemented with the President's Luncheons and whatnot have been fantastic. So I'm more than happy to just sit back and sort of focus on trying to be a player as well when I can get out there.
Now, my understanding of Graham Sherry was many, many moons ago in the old VFL when they had club directors. He might have been a club director with Footscray. He's been heavily involved in footy for a long time, hasn't he?
I think
to have someone with that intellect is very important for your football club, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think his work ethic as well. We were talking to him earlier on in the year, and I think he said it was just a throwaway line. I think someone asked him, but I think he was doing sort of almost 40 hours a week for Red Hill, work just sort of outside behind the scenes just to try and get sponsorship and try and get things going. So, I mean, that on top of everything else that he's got going on in his life is it's pretty amazing. So he's done a great job.
And it's been a great year for the club. You've made the second semi in the seniors, a chance to go through to a grand final. The under-19s are flying.
Yes.
It's been one of those years, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. It's been a really good year. I mean, we've sort of been... You say it every year, I guess you sort of build, and the 19s have been really successful the last few years, and the seniors making the finals the last couple of years as well, or the last 4 years under Blackers has been really good. And we just wanted to keep building and create something special sort of on the field and off the field, and we've always had a really good. We've built a really good culture where we're all sort of one club, I guess, amongst all three teams, and something we focus a lot on is having the 19s feel as much a part of the senior club as the reserves do and the senior players. So it's nice to have the seniors playing off for a spot in the grand final this weekend as reward for everything else that's happened. But yeah, it's a great place to be. So I love it.
What's Jamie brought to the club that you felt the club needed?
It's probably just a new way of thinking. I think that refreshment, that excitement amongst the playing group as well. In a pre-season, it was just, the players were just really excited and rejuvenated trying to try something new, I think, as well.
I want to get around this bloke.
Yes.
I want to get around this bloke.
Al Fuller, the captain of the under-19s.
Yeah, no, all over him at the moment, because you know what I found out? You know where he's from, my home club.
Here we go.
Oh, here we
go.
He's one of my boys.
Oh, here we go. This will be good. This will be good.
Mount Martha Footy Factory, as Al calls it.
Oh, it is. It's a footy factory. You know it too, Dan.
I do know that.
But actually, we'll get on to you first, mate. Senior footy this year? We had a couple of games? No, we haven't had a couple of games.
Got close?
Has he been hiding you in the 19s?
No, well, possibly.
He's been hiding you.
He just dominates the back line there and sorts everyone else out. And I think he's probably been getting everyone else games around him. That's the sort of bloke he is.
Yeah, have you enjoyed your time up here at Red Hill?
Yeah, absolutely loved it since we got here.
Yep.
Really made feel welcome, which is one of the strong things that they tried to bring to the 19s when you come in, and you feel like you're part of the club immediately as you walk in the door. So yeah. Really solid.
Now, obviously you're flying with the 19s at Red Hill, but let's talk about the footy factory for a minute, all right? That is Mount Martha. Now, you played with a couple of handy players down there, didn't you?
Yeah, had Hunter Clark pick 7 and Tom DeConning pick 30 this year. So
we had those.
Junior footy with me. Yeah.
You went through.
Is he Terry's son?
Yes.
The former Footscray ruckman, played 31 games. Yeah.
And then
struggled a bit.
Just before you, probably in that time period too, would have been Newmo would have been playing, Nicky Newman.
Yeah, Nicky Newman.
A little bit before, Lockie Whitfield would have played. You've got Jacob Wiedering in there.
Yep.
I think before him, a bloke called Chris Holcomb, he was floating around.
Oh, who?
I don't think you were born then. I don't think young Al was born then.
And have a look at Chris Holcomb now.
Oh, yeah. He's on the footy show with Dan Lonnie.
Exactly.
Don't start. Dan Lonnie gets lost everywhere.
You must have enjoyed your time down at Mount Martha as well.
Yeah, absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Formed some really close friendships along the way, and some I'm still really good mates with today.
It's a bit warmer too down there, down the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah, a little bit.
How do you go on those?
Lofts off the estuary there, so yeah.
You get running down the oval. Tuesdays and Thursdays up here might get a bit cold.
Oh, it's pretty balmy tonight actually though, yeah.
Yeah, well, let's get into finals time. It changes finals time. As soon as you hit finals, a little bit
atmosphere
lighter,
changes, a bit longer in the daylight.
A little bit different.
It gets nice and warmer in the club, is it?
But having the week off, you would have got a couple of boys fresh and
ready
to go.
Really fresh, really just the way we changed tonight, just attacking everything. So
Beautiful.
Really ready for this week. So it's awesome.
Confident?
Yeah. Got to play our best footy to beat really solid Rye. So yeah. But other than that,
Were you surprised with that result, Rye?
I think the senior players and the quality that they've got back is like something that can't be matched. I don't think so. Yeah, but yeah, I think if we can play team footy, we can definitely take it right up to them.
You're undefeated. You've belted most teams this year. Last year you were telling me that you got beaten in the second semi by Somerville, but turned it around and went on to win the grand final, and you won in overtime. Where have you improved as a team, you think?
This year? Or?
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, I think just probably the quality of players that we've had. Balnarring Junior Footy Club, the 17s there, won a flag last year, so they've come in and really helped us. But yeah, obviously the way Jamie coaches, that filters through down to the 19s, and that obviously little tweaks in his game style have made a huge difference, I think, for the 19s, especially just moving the footy forward as well. So yeah.
What makes Andrew Gilmore a good coach? 7th year doing it?
Yeah, he's just a great people person, really positive all the time. It's one thing we pride ourselves on the 19s is no one's really at each other. It's just positive reinforcement the whole time. No one's looking down themselves negatively. It's just getting around blokes that obviously we all make mistakes and we can't help that. So yeah.
I've just noticed here you've got a bit of a hair there. It's obviously that's myself and Dan. I'm not quite good at it.
We're jealous.
I'll join you.
And Harry's in the same.
I'm wearing the beanie.
He's probably wearing the same with the Hawks
The old
too.
saying, Harry. That's the greatest respect to Al. I mean, he's only a young fellow, but you can't grow grass on a busy street. That's
exactly right.
You're
right there. I've got a few mates of mine that hey days when I worked there many years ago. There, I reckon, turn your head around, mate. Dickie Nee, we've got a spot for you like that. Not a problem. We could do something for you. Later on when you stop playing football. But ever thought about getting the snippers out and giving it a trim or?
Nah, not even close.
You wash it.
Mount Martha thing, mate.
You never watched it?
Oh, the Surfies, sorry, mate.
Yeah,
So, yeah, the Surfies at Mount Martha.
yeah, right.
Now, we talked before about Andrew Gilmore. He's seen as one of the under-19 coaches of the year with Andrew Brady of Tyre for what he's done with that club. And also Mike Treat, who's coached Coringallo, is a very dirty man, mood-wise. mood-wise. After, probably the wrong turn of phrase, Mike, if you're listening, but mood-wise, after his team went down to Rye last week, I quickly made sure that I said the right thing. No, absolutely not. In regard to their loss last week to Rye, but he's done a great job with that team. And, of course, Andrew Gilmore at Red Hill. Now, Harry, you've been involved in the club for a long time, and as Al said, Andrew's been there 7 years as coach. What makes him a great coach?
Well, he's been here even longer as a player as well. So he was a senior player and a pretty bloody good one at that, off the half-back flank. And even when he was coaching too, he was still trying to play too. So I think he's always had that involvement with the club and with the under-19s as well. He's a teacher at Balnarring Primary School, so he's sort of in with a lot of the locals and the families as well. So I think getting players to the Red Hill Footy Club in the under-19s when we're competing with Crib Point and Hastings for clubs like Balnarring and from Mount Martha, his positivity and his relationship that he can build with anyone has been pretty phenomenal. And obviously a good coach, a good positive coach as well, to be able to make the last to play in the last 2 grand finals, win the flag last year, and hopefully make it 3 grand finals in a row.
Do you think he could go to a senior level?
I think he definitely could if he wanted to. Yeah, for sure. He's just had another kid 2 weeks ago.
Charlotte,
little Charlotte, born. Steph and Gilmore had their second. So I think his priorities are obviously he's got a bit more on his plate now, especially this time of the year with finals and a newborn. But I think he could do it for sure if he wanted to. It'd just be
time. Is that
time? Yeah.
Well, there's a few clubs needing a coach. Somerville need a coach. Pearsdale need a coach. Lee Stewart has resigned or isn't having his contract renewed. Not quite sure what's happened there, but he's certainly not coaching the club next year. So there could be an opportunity. Just one more question about the under-19s. You're obviously competing with other clubs to get the under-19s in. One club that did well this year, got beaten in the elimination final last week, is Crib Point, and they've got the Balnarring Junior Director, Mark Lawton, as a vice president there. Is it going to get harder to get the very good Balnarring juniors?
And they've added
you've got in the past?
Yeah, I think, and they've added the teal into their jumper as well, which apparently was a little...
Question, Dan.
That's interesting.
Is that right? Is that all part of that?
I certainly don't want to start a rumour on the GameFace Footy Show. But
please do. That's what we're here for.
That's what we need. We need them.
We're here for that. We'll keep an eye on
that.
When we played them there last week, I noticed they had a bit of teal on the back of the Crib Point jumper, and I thought that's got to be a little... a little something to try and get the guys across from Balnarring. I think it's always going to be a struggle for us. You're competing with that. I think what we've been able to build from a culture point of view, I think we had a few guys come from Mount Eliza this year to play, and it's really nice.
You've got a great relationship with Mount Eliza, don't you? Not Mount Eliza, Mount Martha.
Well, and so we've got which is. I'll go back and do it. The Mount Martha Footy Factory, we've got a great relationship with. But we had a few come from Mount Eliza, and they were just saying how it was amazing, just how welcome they felt from the get-go being under 19s players. So I think Gilmore's a big part of that, but that we rely on what we've been able to build in previous years is, when they're winning flags, it also helps.
I probably would have won 4 flags in a row at Mornington with the Red Hill kids. You do realise that, don't you, Dan?
I do realise that, Chris. Yeah, thank you for that. I know you got drafted. I know you're a good footballer. I think I've mentioned it every single week on the show. I'll mention it again, that you're a very good footballer.
It's scary. It's scary, Hulk, isn't it? It's scary.
What about a plug for your business? What do you do for a living, El?
I just got a new job at Red Hill Trading Co. Do a wonderful service for the farmers out there.
Good.
Brando, I love that.
Excellent. Lovely work up there. So,
Do you want to work at Harvey Norman Mornington, mate?
Hard pass on that one.
Yeah.
And what's it like being captain? And what makes a good captain?
I'm not sure. I really try and just ask as many questions as possible from the senior leaders and try and just implement little bits into the 19s, because obviously a lot of them are still playing for fun and it's not as serious as the senior fellas, so you try and take little bits and add them in, but you can't go pushing them too hard, otherwise they just go away, I suppose.
Do you give them a speech before quarter or 3/4 time, and if you do, you're a man of a lot of words or few words, El?
Just before the game, the little before the game rev up, and that's about it for me, unless something really needs to be said, but that's very usually this year.
leading with your actions, no doubt. Well, great to have you with us. Good luck on the weekend. Good luck in the finals. Great to have you with us, Harry. Thanks for having us down here tonight. Thanks for organising everything. Our pleasure. And hopefully you get back for the finals in a couple of weeks' time, if not this week. And if the team gets through, maybe for the grand final in a couple of weeks' time. But you've got a lot of big fish to fry in the next few weeks, this football club. So good luck and thanks for joining us. Back with more shortly on the Division 2 Footy Show, live at Red Hill. Dynamic Staffing Solutions. We act immediately to supply your business with quality staffing and labour solutions.
Websites, videos, Google marketing, SEO. What do you need for your business? Call the team at Chill. They really know their stuff.
In the Division 2 Final Series Best Players Award after the first week of the finals. In the seniors, Chris Irving of Red Hill outstanding in his team's win to move into the second semi. He got 6 votes, as did Matt Jackson of Coringal, Reed Crowe of Chelsea and Sean Herdman, who was used as a spare man in defence, especially in the second half. 6 votes for Lang Warren. A great effort as Langy continue on in the final series of 2018. In the Division 2 Reserves Best Players, John Marshall of Dramana, 6 votes. Matthew Mitchell of Chelsea, outstanding, 6 votes. Richard Mathers of Coringal, 6 votes. And Sam Fogey in Lang Warren's defeat at the hands of Chelsea, 6 votes. In the under-19s, Campbell Robbins of Rye helped drag his team over the line with a wonderful display. He got 6 votes, as did Matthew McCarthy of Crib Point, Nicholas Mason of Somerville and Zach Saunders of Coringal. This is the GameFace Footy Show live at Red Hill for Division 2, the second semi-final, first semi-final weekend coming up. Don't forget, Team of the Year announced at the Grand Final Footy Show, live from the Grand Hotel Mornington.
Round the
Chris
corner.
Holcomb's home ground,
Round the
Wednesday
corner
the
from
5th
home
of
too.
September, 7 o'clock start. Book your tickets now. It's free entry, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
show.
cats and dogs. Last year we were booked out, so make sure you're booked. So
Can I
get
take
your
up-
bookings in right now. Can I mention too, boys, I love the beanies. I wasn't given one. But you guys were. I mean, I don't really need one, to be honest, but thanks very much, Harry. I will wear it.
Chuck it on, mate.
There you go.
That melody or something there.
Well, what about the cut? About the cut we talked about earlier?
Oh, yeah, well, you know about the cut.
Yeah.
The cut was at Berwick, and I thank all the nurses there for helping me out there.
Can I actually I'll take you up to my old hunting ground, the Cruise Club?
Cruise Club. Go to the Cruise Club, mate.
Yeah, I'd love to go there.
We'll have a
Let
look
me
there.
go there. I like
I've
the
been a
beanie.
few.
And it doesn't mean I'm supporting Red Hill ahead of other teams. I hope they go very well this week, but we thank Red Hill again for allowing us to be here tonight. It's been fantastic. Now, talking of Red Hill, you'll be able to watch the footy live on the GameFace app with the RPP Vision and Sound on 98.7 on the weekend. The second semi-final in the seniors, live from Hastings between Red Hill and also Dramana. And I've got a big weekend of footy with my great mate, the coach. We've got the Berwick and Cranbourne qualifying final in the Cefnal. That match is at Beaconsfield, and then on Sunday, Beaconsfield up against Officer in the elimination final. That match at Berwick in the last season of the Cefnal. Maybe Cranbourne will join the Mornington Peninsula, the PM Football League next year. Still reckon it's a good comp.
Ah, whatever, mate.
There's not enough teams in it, though. Not enough teams. That's been the problem. Yeah, I like the MPNFL as well, but I'm calling football for the Cefnal, so we need to promote what we're doing as an organisation. I was told to promote it. My boss has told me to promote it. My producer, the great coach, has told me to promote it.
Done a
So I'm
good
doing
job.
it.
He's done a good job. Let him go. He's done a good job.
Thank you very
good job.
much.
Very good job.
Thanks, Paul. Paul knows what side his bread's buttered on. Now, in the seniors, thank you, coach. We'll look at the tips now. The live match on RPP and GameFace, Dramana and Red Hill. It's an absolute cracker. Red Hill pushed Dramana the last time they met, certainly for a half. And then they ran over them the first time they met early in the season to inflict Dramana's only loss of the year. Should be a magnificent game.
I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a cracker. Like, if probably you would be off Dramana because they've lost that one game. You said they were struggling there in that mid-season little patch, didn't you?
Oh, when they beat Red Hill a few weeks ago, I changed my mind.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
I did,
okay,
yeah.
funny that one.
And you've changed your mind all year on football teams.
No,
so don't you
I
talk
haven't.
yourself.
Don't start that.
You've up and down though, Hulks. You've been.
I've just informed sides that they were garbage at that time and they were a lot better than what they should have been. So
Well, I
you
thought
gotta sue me
Dramana
for
was
that.
patchy at that time.
Well,
right
this
there.
game, Red Hill, fantastic last week. I just think Dramana have a little bit more class at the top end. I like Delago back in the
Their forward
side for
line
Red
in
Hill.
particular.
I like Delago back.
He'll be a big.
He will be
a biggie.
Back
A
in,
biggie.
But I think Dramana just. What do you think?
Red Hill. Just think they might be able to get over the line. Got nothing to do with being here tonight. I just think they might be able to get over the line. So I'm going to go for Red Hill to win that.
I'm excited about the fact that Hastings as well.
I reckon it's going to be a kick in it.
Yeah.
With the 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, go on.
And it's going to be Dramana.
Dramana just will win the game.
Just
what with the kick after the siren almost.
These are the two most well-equipped sides to go into First Division, so it's going to be a belt, and I think we'll see them again in 2 weeks' time after that, but it's a bit of momentum going into that grand final, mate.
It should be fascinating.
Yeah.
It'll be a great game. Be a great game.
Kringle and Langwarren, what do you think?
Langy on a roll.
Rye again. Langwarren playing there last week. Will that help?
That'll help them.
Yeah. If the breeze is up again, it'll be interesting, won't it?
They're on a roll, Langwarren there. The club's just up and about at the moment there.
Kringle not kicking enough goals.
Kringle, as we said before, just aren't. Something there with Kringle at the moment there, but Langwarren, they're up and about. They've signed some new players for next year already, and there's a few more to come too.
Billy Rolfe from Somerville is coming,
and
Tim McGuinness from Somerville is coming,
and there could be.
And watch this space in the next couple of weeks.
More coming up too. Yeah,
I believe
too. So
club not saying too much at the moment though.
But I think Langy will just would win that one well.
You think Kringle's gone, Chris? Yeah, I think they're gone. They're not kicking enough goals. That's their issue.
Gone.
Sorry, Troy. They were very good to us a couple of weeks ago, but I think it's going to be very hard for them to win that game.
Get the cards up.
I didn't write that. Chris Holcomb wrote that. Kringle boys, if you're looking for him.
That's gold.
I think Langwarren have got the only Arsenal that can get over either Dramana or Red Hill if there's a brutal second semi, and that might be a bit of a tipping. But if Kringle get into the prelim, they win this week, they don't have a chance against these two top sides. Not the way they're playing footy at the moment. So I think Langwarren this week will keep the momentum rolling against Kringle.
It's great for Langwarren too. They've been down and out for years and years.
Well, they have been down and out for years, but they've got a nice list, which is what I said halfway through the year.
And Josh Beard and Blake McCormack are developing a really good culture there as well. Now in the reserves, we'll get through these quickly. Hastings and Kringle. Hastings have been on top all year in the reserves. Can they beat Kringle, who were pretty good last week?
I think they can. Kringle has a little bit of momentum in the twos, but
playing at home too, does that help?
Oh, of course it does.
Yeah,
Hastings. So Hastings for me.
Hastings for me too.
Yeah, Hastings for me as well. And in the under-19s, of course, it's Red Hill and Rye in the second semi. You'd think Red Hill would win, even though Rye have a few back, as Al mentioned earlier.
Mate, with all those Mount Martha boys in the side, they're going to towel this up.
Holt's Mount Martha team. Holt's factory.
Oh, little Mount Martha side up here on the hill, they'll tear that up.
The Mount Martha team, and you don't have a Mount Martha team playing senior footy.
I'll try it. You know, we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. Now, in the under-19s, the first semi-final in the under-19s is between... And it's going to be a very interesting game. Kringle, who'd be reeling after losing last week, a match they should have won. They take on Somerville. I think they'll win comfortably, won't they, Paul?
They'll win that quite well. Kringle by 6, 7.
Yeah,
maybe 8.
I certainly agree with that. And can Chelsea beat Dramana in the reserves first semi?
I saw Dramana walk off the ground last week, and yes, they can. There's a few limping bodies and a bit flat, and I think Chelsea can win that.
Yeah, they were very good. I mean, they kicked 7 goals in the first quarter to set up the win and hung on nicely.
Yeah.
Their coach, Steve Gardner, said at three-quarter time he had to kick 1 goal into the breeze, and they kicked that goal into the breeze because he felt their third quarter wasn't great, and they got a really good win. He's an experienced man and did a great job with that side. And I'd like to thank, too, the coach and I were there all day on Sunday, for all the people that allowed us to chat to them, and we interrupted their day for a couple of minutes, and everyone was having a great time. A terrific atmosphere down there, despite the fact it was darn cold. How cold? Darn cold. Now, you tip for the flag, boys, before we go?
I love this comp. Like, seriously, it's top 2 are clear. They're hard above the rest.
It'll be a Dramana Red Hill grand final.
1 for 1 each way. It hasn't been a big margin.
No.
They're really evenly matched. Look, if I was going to go out on a limb...
Oh, he's just...
You're going Red Hill.
I'll go Red Hill.
Even though they'll lose the second semi.
I'm just saying, Red Hill.
You look like Mike.
Yeah, I think Red Hill can just get the job done in the second semi. Yeah, it's a blast from the past. Mike Preston. Celebrity Squares. Celebrity Squares. Long time ago. Great show, that. And charades, wasn't it? Was
Yes,
it Celebrity
yeah, the
Squares and it was charades,
I
wasn't
think,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, love that show.
Blankety blanks.
Blankety
Blanks.
Yeah, it was. I don't think Mike Preston was in Blankety Blanks, though, was he?
Oh, he might have been there years ago.
Graham Kennedy was.
Graham Kennedy. Everyone was.
Cyril says.
Cyril says.
Yeah. No, he's wonderful. I love Graham Kennedy.
Really quick then.
Yeah, very good at doing
You
that.
just went off on your own tangent.
We did. I think whoever wins the second semi, whoever wins the second semi will win the grand final. And as I said, I think Red Hill can just get the job done.
Yeah.
It all
I'll
depends on the
go.
second semi.
I'm Dramana.
You've been very good all year. Thank you, boys. It's been great having you here. Thank you very much to the Red Hill Football Club for having us.
Thank
We've
you
had
all.
a great time. Thanks to the coach and Nick for allowing us to get to air as they always do, and for Glenn for organising the show as usual. Back again next week with more Division 1 and Division 2 football. We'll be deep in the finals then. Good luck to your team on the weekend, and we'll catch you then.